Here is a lesson in finding area of irregular shapes. Find the area of the shape below. When you see an irregular shape, first you want to try to find ways to divide the shape into squares or rectangles. This shape I see I can divide into two good-sized rectangles. Next, write the equation you will use to determine the area of each of the smaller shapes. I like to write my equations right inside the shapes. I have one rectangle that will be 3 times 5 and one that will be 2 times 4. I need to solve each equation to find the area of the smaller shapes. I'll use my skip counting strategy if I don't know my facts. 3 times 5 would be 15. 5, 10, 15. 2 times 4 would be 8. 4, 8. Finally, we add the two answers together to find the total area of the original shape. 15 plus 8 equals 23 square centimeters. Find the area of the shape below. Let's see if we can use some of the strategies we've just looked at. Divide the shape. I see where I can divide this shape into two rectangles. Find the area of each smaller shape. I'm going to use my formula to find the area of the long rectangle and the short rectangle. 6 times 2 and 2 times 5. I'll use my skip counting strategies to find the answer to each of those problems. 6 and 6 more is 12, and I know that 2 5s are 10. I'm going to add the areas of each of those smaller parts to find the total area of the original shape. 12 plus 10 equals 22 square inches. Find the area of the shape below. Let's study this shape for a moment. We want to decide where to split the shape and make changes to the measurements if needed. I see if I split this shape into two smaller shapes, I will probably need to be able to count by 15s. Since I don't like to count by bigger numbers, I think I'm going to find a way to split the shape into a different way. Let's split the shape into 3 smaller shapes. The 15 that was at the top is no longer 15 centimeters. If I look, I have a square on each end, so I know that if it's 5 down here, it's also 5 up top. And the same can be said for the other side. If 5 is on the side, it is a square, so there must be 5 centimeters up top. So I know that 3 5s equal the original 15 centimeters. Now I'm ready to start writing my equations. I'm going to write the equations for the area of the new smaller shapes, but I have to pay close attention to the measurements I'm using in my equations. This part in the middle now has longer sides, so you have to put the two parts together to use the whole length for the measurement. The 5 from the original part on the bottom, and also the 5 from the red where we split the shape. So now I have my 3 equations, 5 times 5, 10 times 5, and 5 times 5. I'm going to solve each equation and then add the totals to find the complete area of the original shape. I know my 5's facts. 5 times 5 is 25. 10 times 5 is 50, and 5 times 5 is also 25. So I will add those 3 totals together. 25 plus 25 equals 50, plus 50 again equals 100 square centimeters for this original shape. Some tips to remember for finding area of irregular shapes. The formula for finding area of a square or rectangle is length times width. Study an irregular shape to look for ways to split it into rectangles or squares. After splitting the irregular shape, find the area of the smaller figures. Finally, add the totals from the smaller shapes to determine the area of the entire irregular shape. I hope you have found these tips helpful in finding area of irregular shapes.